It's such good shit!
Hey, Mark Rodriguez here, back with another episode of the Diving Cutter Podcast, and with me is...
John Rodriguez, always awesome to be invited in this podcast.
Wayne White, aka Ninja1980 on Instagram. Check out my Street Fighter Cross AEW work.
Jack Knives from Jack Knives Reviews.
And boy, what a crew we got today. I guess I'll round it out. We got back in the house, the Lord of Rock and Roll, the God of Thunder, Rikki Roxx is back. Happy to be here on the Diving Cutter Podcast. We got a lot to cover today, sounds like. So why don't we just get into it? What's going on? What's everybody up to? Welcome back, Jack, by the way. You were sorely missed last time. We needed you here, brother.
Thanks. I know I've been having a hectic schedule with my YouTube and a bunch of other stuff, but I'm glad I'm back.
Yeah. So right now, we actually got a lot of, different wrestling news things. Some things we might breeze over, but some I think we gotta just discuss. But, yes, we're doing our AEW Full Gear predictions, but as usual, we also talk about a little bit what's going on in the world of wrestling. I'll just start off real quick. This is probably one of the shorter ones. Recently announced we got the return of AJ Lee in wrestling. Unfortunately not in the ring, but hey, who knows, right? Later on. She's actually taking over Women of Wrestling, a pre-existing company. Now she's in charge. The controversial decision, though, is that she's bringing in Tessa Blanchard along for the ride. And in my opinion, I know she's had her drama. I know she's caused things. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. My faith is in AJ Lee. It's impossible for her to have hired Blanchard without knowing all the behind-the-scenes stuff, which we're not going to bring up too much here. But I have faith in her. She's got to know what she's doing. She's got to, she has to know. So I have my trust in her. We'll see what's going on.
Well, on top of that, they also apparently have a new owner. So the previous owner of Women of Wrestling, I believe he was part owner of the Raptors, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow.
But I think it's a totally different owner this time, but he actually is unlike the original owner actually knew very little about wrestling. This person apparently knows a lot about wrestling, and he specifically wanted to handpick wrestlers who were veterans and trainers, hence why he got Tessa Blanchard, AJ Lee. There's also apparently going to be some open casting calls for different female talent on the indie circuit, from what I can gather, at least from reading some of the blurbs.
Yeah, I would imagine you have to do
forums.
that.
More places to work is always good for everybody. I'm always saying that, and especially because after this week, we know that pretty much no one is safe. There's no such thing as job security for anybody but the women in this business, especially. So having more places to work is it's going to be a good thing. So we'll see how it plays out.
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like great news that AJ Lee is going to be back in action, and let's just see how this all pans out. Hopefully, this updated wrestling organization will be a good thing in the long run.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's good to see AJ Lee back in order. Now, this thing with the former owner, the current owner of the Toronto Raptors, owning Women of Wrestling, between that, Tessa Blanchard, I think they're actually going to bring the women's wrestling back into more of a mainstream position, dig Women of Wrestling out of its grave, because it was kind of buried for a little while. But I definitely think they're going to bring it up and more into the mainstream. So
they've been around a while, though, but I think remind me, they've been around for a while, have they not? But I think they kind of had a lull for a long period of time. Am I correct?
Well, they started. I think they started in 2002, and then they ran from 2002 to about 2006, and then they stopped. Then they came back in 2008 to 2012, and then they came back in 2014, and then they take a 1 or 2 year off. And most of that, I think, has to actually do with, to be honest, it's mostly to do with not being able to find a deal with a TV deal. But that is one of the big things I found out, is that Women of Wrestling, unlike the last owner, the first thing he did was he tried to get a deal. So they're actually going to, from what I hear, they're actually going to be on the CW network, which is good, because that's a that's a basic channel on most TVs. So if they're going to actually be on the CW, they'd actually be able to get a pretty good stream going on with viewership. So they could end up being, especially if it's in sometime in the middle of the week, I think they could actually have a pretty good sizable view count if all the stars align, so to speak.
So in other news, we'll get to WWE in a minute, but apparently Ring of Honor topped them because the entire company's going down. They're rebranding sometime next year, and as a result, they're cutting literally everybody loose. So I'm assuming they got a couple last matches here and there, but after that, it's goodbye to, like, everyone. And, like, wow. That's just a shocker, dude. Like, I don't know. Now, we'll see what's happening with the rebranding. We'll see if they maybe rehire someone after the rebranding, some of the guys, because, I mean, they can't just, I don't know, but wow, man, just wow.
So, yeah, it's a lot of uncertainty. I've been close with a lot of the guys that have gone through there, and I haven't heard anything. I don't know if anybody actually knows anything concrete. I mean, there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of rumors. You hear sometimes within the span of a day, you hear things change, like first the tape library's up for sale, then it's not, then it was, but it's not now, and then, every hour it's something different. From where I stand, I gotta admit it doesn't look good. I would hate to see them go under completely, given the history and how many people came through there, and how many people are still there, and a lot of guys I've really heard a lot of great things over the years about Ring of Honor. I never had the pleasure of working there myself, but, a lot of my buddies, LSG, Shaheem Ali, Rhett, Titus especially, Ian Riccaboni, a lot of guys that I've been tight with have gone through there, and I've just heard so many great things about how well they took care of the talents, and, especially over the last year, they took care of everybody really well in spite of the circumstances, which was great of them to do. But I mean, a lot of times, it's good to be that kind of altruistic, but it can't last forever. The market's not great right now. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. I got to admit, though, I'm a little skeptical about the whole reboot in the spring thing. I'm thinking back, and it's like, well, we've heard that before, haven't we? It's like, it's like almost exactly what Bischoff and them said back in March of 2001. They're like, yeah, so we'll see you in the spring. Oh, wait, never mind.
Heyman did the same thing with ECW. Heyman did the same thing
Correct.
with ECW. Said, oh, we'll be back. And then,
Can you imagine if the whole time when they rebrand, all they do is just add like an extra U and honor, that's all it is, Ring of Honor.
Oh,
like WROH, Ring of Honor, Ring of Honor. I to be honest, my whole thought, I was heartbroken. I'm really heartbroken about this because I've been pretty deep in the indie circuit for a long time because I know a couple people that are former that are wrestlers from the indie circuits and stuff, and I've been to a couple of Ring of Honor shows. I got to meet certain wrestlers behind the scenes at Ring of Honor, and I literally have never, like, I've been to many like WWE shows, even AEW, New Japan as well. But Ring of Honor, it always has felt like they always gave off this vibe of like a family. Like, it really gave off a vibe of like, you're welcome, come on in. Like those kind of, I don't know if anyone has any ethnic families or whatever, or know anyone with ethnic families that kind of feel
cough,
like, come
cough.
on, have a seat.
Cough, cough.
Like that kind of, come on, are you hungry? Here's some food. That kind of feel is the vibe you got when you walked into Ring of Honor, into the areas where they wrestled, meeting the crew, and they're genuinely good people. The only thing that really breaks my heart, I know there are certain wrestlers, especially like you said, Red Titus, LSG, all these people that are established talent. I have high hopes and faith that they will find footing. It's the younger talent that were going through the rankings of Ring of Honor that I'm worried about. Specifically, the one that really breaks my heart is Roxy, because she literally just became the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. She was the youngest women's champion in Ring of Honor. She's only 18, even though she's been wrestling since she was 13. And the girl's a dynamo. And if anyone doesn't sign her, it's a waste of her talents.
Well,
and I feel
women
bad
of
for her,
wrestling.
Yeah, maybe they could go there. And then Quinn McKay, sweetest person. Honestly, like, if anyone talked crap about a wrestler, I'd be like, eh. But if you talk crap about Quinn McKay, I'd be like, no, them's fighting words. But like I said, it's the same principle. I'm like, I mean, it really does feel like it sucks because it feels like the end of an era, and I don't want it to go away. But like all wrestling companies, if you follow your history, if it folds, it's not due to the talent. It's never due to the talent. And anyone that follows wrestling history knows that's true. It's not to do with talent. Right. It's everything to do with management. Like, I don't know, one little thing I did hear about was that the biggest blow that Ring of Honor had was Joe Koff, the president of Ring of Honor. He, because he refused to pay, I guess the Young Bucks and Cody wanted a ton of money to stay in Ring of Honor before AEW. They said no. And then they said, it's something to the akin of, oh, no, you guys aren't worth anything. No one wants to ever work with you. And then basically when AEW started flourishing, Joe Koff tried going back to Cody and the Bucks to try to get them to help Ring of Honor. And they basically said no. So if that's true, then basically his pettiness could have destroyed the company. And the fact that it seems as though the buck stops with the top, and he clearly doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
I mean, these are unfortunately the things that happen in this business, like you were saying.
Yeah, it's definitely sad to see Ring of Honor go. And I agree with Jack Knives. Like, there was a certain feel, like a real homely feel to the Ring of Honor events. I've been to a couple of them myself, and it's just like. It's like indie style wrestling meets like a pro style house show. Like, that's the type of feel you get. It's like really fun, really good time. You actually get to hang out with some of the wrestlers, things of that nature. I actually had a friend that actually wrestled once or twice in Ring of Honor, so I actually got to meet some of the guys in the back. So yeah, seeing that go is kind of a blow because that's one of my earlier memories. So, I mean, it's going to suck. I hope they can be back in the spring and they don't pull a WCW, but we'll see, because we know how that goes.
Have New Japan buy them. Boom. Problem solved. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, stranger things have happened, but a lot of those guys, they will land on their feet, like Jack was saying. I mean, LSG always lands on his feet, like the time I pinned LSG in a loser leaves the Monster Factory match when the Blue Meanie counted the 1, 2, 3, and I got my hand raised. That was a great night. But see, he landed on his feet, and he wasn't even gone for that long. So I don't know. I should have checked the fine print on that contract, I guess. But I pinned him.
The system is always against Rikki, man. It's always against the God of Thunder. Every time, man. Every time.
Shaheem Ali, we used to have a thing we used to do where whenever we were in a battle royal, we were like battle royal buddies. We'd always just ended up getting paired up somehow. Me and Shaheem, it was weird. And I'd kick him in the nuts. Like, that was my spot. I'd get lost in a battle royal. I'd just wait for him to come over to me. I'd kick him in the nuts. He did a great sell off it too. He was just like...
As soon as you said that, as soon as you said, like, oh, we were battle royal buddies, and I used to kick him in the nuts, as soon as you said that, I had the visual of you kicking someone in the nuts and then hearing, that's what friends are for.
And I get him right in the running lights, and then he just crumples, and I turn over to the camera, and I make the goalpost. I'm like, it's good. It's good.
So now one of the bigger news, the most recent news, is that WWE's at it again. They're at it again, releasing even more people here, and oh man, let me see what names I forgot if I got the names somewhere. Just give me a moment. But the ones that stand out for me the most, I'm surprised they got rid of Ember Moon, considering how badass she was. They got rid of Mia Yim, who I felt they never built to her potential. I loved her in the Mae Young Classic and her design and all that, her outfit and all that, and I thought she was gonna, go somewhere. They got rid of Karrion Kross, Keith Lee, Scarlett Bordeaux. I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
Bordeaux.
Scarlett Bordeaux.
Okay. Nia Jax, the Botch Machine. Eva Marie, which I'm surprised they rehired her to begin with, to be honest. Frankie Monet.
What was the point of that?
I don't know.
What was the point of that?
Yeah. B-Fab. Grand Metalik. That's a shame. He was a cool dude. Lince Dorado was also cool. Jessie Kamea. I saw her thing posted. Like, she's like, what the fuck? So she was caught off guard by that. Zeta Ramier. Trey Baxter. Katrina Cortez. Harry Smith. And Oni Lorcan. So that's a lot of people.
Oni Lorcan, yeah. I love what Ember Moon posted, because I follow her on Twitter. What she posted literally the day of the announcement, she literally says, all I can do is laugh.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing that.
Because this is what's so effed up about specifically with Ember Moon. So a lot of people don't know this. Ember Moon was on the main roster TV. But a lot of people don't know why she was taken off of TV. The reason she was taken off of TV is because they randomly just decided to have her in a stupid sketch where she was chasing R-Truth for the 24/7 title. You know, like all those shuffle of people running after him. And she literally was just last minute, hey, you go chase him. And then, so she chases him, she turns around the corner, and she blows out her Achilles tendon while running after him.
Oh, God.
And then she was off TV for 9 months because of a stupid sketch. And then they said, you may never wrestle again. We're not too sure.
Oh, I remember that. Oh, I was so fucking pissed.
Yeah, and then she came, and then she was out for 9 months. And then there was another month of rehabilitation because they were worried her surgery went wrong. And then she comes back to NXT, which I loved her new theme. And her kind of wasteland gimmicky thing wasn't as cool as her old gimmick, but it was still kind of cool. And she did pretty well with the tag team circuit with Shotzi, and then they separated her from Shotzi, which she didn't even know about until literally that day. And then, like I said, now that she's in limbo, and now they finally got rid of her, and I'm like, you know what? Have her go to NWA. Have her go to Women of Wrestling. Have her go to AEW for all, she is so damn good. She could work pretty much anywhere.
Go with that one that Thunder Rosa has. That
Mission Pro? Yeah, Mission Pro would be great too. Like her and Kylie Ray. I mean, Kylie Ray would be great because Kylie Ray and her trained together, and they were both trained by Booker T. So I'm like, I don't, like I said, like that would be kind of cool. But like I said, I agree with her. It's like all I can do is laugh. It's literally. She blows her leg out because of a stupid sketch. Then she recovers. Then they don't know what to do with her. Then she goes to NXT. They don't know what to do with her. And then they fire her.
I am very confused with Kylie Ray because she keeps quitting here and there. But I just saw her in the indies like last week or so, like some other match or whatever. So I don't know what's up with Kylie Ray. I just know she's not fit for the big time. But... I know she has severe anxiety issues when it comes to large crowds. That's why she signed with NWA, because even though NWA is getting more and more popular, their crowd size is not going to get gigantic. Like, it's never going to be like, selling out like SoFi Stadium or something crazy like that. I think it was just, to be honest, with Kylie, it was just too much at once. I think that's what it was. Because some people, some people can deal with large people in small doses, but it's hard for people to deal with like large crowds all at once. It's really hard, and I feel for her, but I feel for her. I didn't feel so much for what's his name. That ball.
If I were management at Impact Wrestling, I would add that to my spin catalog. I'd be like, No, see, the thing is, everybody on our roster here at Impact just has a lot of anxiety about large crowds. That's why nobody's at our shows.
Actually, you know what? Impact has gotten a lot more popular recently, especially during the pandemic.
Know. It's just, I got shit to say about everybody. I do. I got a lot. Some of these today you're going to hear... Since some of these folks are not going to be on TV for a little while, some of it is going to be me just getting some of the stuff out of my system for the hell of it. Like, for example, two of the biggest cuts, wasn't it? Not just Nia, they cut Keith Lee too, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Keith Bearcat Lee.
And weren't they saying budget cuts? Wasn't
budget cuts.
No, they called him. They started calling him Bearcat, Keith Bearcat Lee, and I'm like, what the hell?
What I heard was that you got to get the catering budget down 40% by the end of this month, and overnight, Keith Lee and Nia are not.
No.
Coincidence? I don't think so.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, I think it was a misprint when it came to Nia Jax. It wasn't budget cuts, it was botching cuts. So, yeah, those went down 100% as soon as they got rid of them.
They had to fire
It's like,
Nia
no.
Jax. That way because their insurance premiums were going through the roof.
It's like, no, you misheard. She wasn't fired because she was bitching a lot, because she was botching a lot. Oh, you know.
But the funny thing that makes me laugh about Nia Jax is, like, it's like, good luck trying to find work, because she fucking burned so many damn bridges. Like, she has literally, like, trash-mouthed so many people.
They finally... I mean, at the end of the day, it's Monday Night Raw, not Monday Night Raw cookie dough.
Oh, God. Oh!
Who says things like that out loud for people to hear them?
It looks like that safety net of the Anawahi family has a hole in it. My hole!
Oh, God.
A hole in it, right? Oh.
Oh, God.
But see, it's unfortunate, though. It is, because she was dealing with some depression, they said. You know, so that's a bad...
Yeah, she was supposed to take a mental break.
Now, this is unfounded. I can't... Yeah. I have no...
She just had a hole in her heart.
But see, the thing is, she got blamed for a lot of things that were not her fault. She got blamed for a lot of things that were not her fault. For example, allegedly, the Baskin-Robbins down from where she lives got down to 8 flavors. And that's not her fault directly. But apparently, she took the heat for that. That would piss me off, too, if people said things like that about me.
No.
I don't know who says things like that.
Oh, goodness. But, yeah, it's a big shocker. From my understanding... Yeah. My understanding is Tony Khan's dad's, like trying to prevent him from hiring all these guys. Like, nope, stop, no. You stop him from hiring all of them.
Well, they can't take everybody. They can't.
Don't tell that to don't say it too loud. Tony Khan might hear you and say, "Can I?" Oh God. So on other news,
Tony Khan. Real quick, I think Tony Khan is becoming like that one really hungry cousin that every ethnic family has, where it's like, "What are you cooking? Can I have some?" That's him with every roster. It's like, you're not going to finish that? You mind if I take it home?
Oh, my goodness.
3 weeks later, hey, buddy, you want the rest of that NXT? Bring that over here, why don't you?
Hey, Tony, there's something moldy in the fridge. Oh, that's Colt Cabana. Don't worry about it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, you still work here. Dun, 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 dun.
I saw this funny picture. You know that one meme of, like, from Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they're looking at each other across the restaurant? They're all like, oh no, like they realize they're at the same restaurant. I always imagined that when Punk started working there. I'm like, oh my God, that must be so awkward.
I heard they washed that. I don't know.
I don't know. They did go to court. I don't know.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but I've been in court. I've had to make nice with people I almost... Yeah, I mean, you know, life has a way of fixing things sometimes. I I can't say too much legally.
Yeah.
Things have a way of working themselves out. You'd be amazed.
Especially by court order.
Oh God, yeah.
When all else fails. But yeah, it's been a crazy week. It's a lot of uncertainty out there. But
Well,
whether it's ROH or all these WWE cuts, like Jack said, most of them are gonna land on their feet. It's just like a question of where and when. Really, AEW can't take all of them. I don't think they're gonna take even most of them. That Impact deal is done now, so they can't even just kind of quietly shuffle some of their extras over there like they've been doing all year. Like, oh great, now we got to book angles for Christian Cage again. We didn't have to worry about that for a while, but now, now he's our problem.
Well, luckily New Japan has New Japan Strong, which is like they're kind of allowing people to wrestle for them in the LA circuit. So at least there's that. Like, they're actually opening doors to pretty much whoever wants to wrestle, as long as you can prove that you're good enough to be in the ring. You're totally cool. So I'm glad that they're allowing that. Like, they're doing an open relationship with MLW, GCW, NWA, I'm glad New Japan is trying to open some form of communication within the wrestling industry instead of being like, no, you have to pay us X amount of money to think about talking to us. New Japan's like, hey, anyone sitting here?
So another news, Tony Khan also, well, both things. You can tell the story about these alcoholic announcements there, Knives.
So coincidentally, or whatever you want to call it, the same day that they announced, actually no, the day before, I believe this was earlier this last week, they said that Jon Moxley's going to be off of TV for at least for a couple months because he's got quote-unquote health issues. Then the following day, on Vince McMahon's Twitter, which this is really weird, on Vince McMahon's Twitter, he said he had posted that Stone Cold Steve Austin's son had taken his father into rehab for alcohol abuse. Then that same day, later the same day, AEW announced that, or reports announced that Jon Moxley was going into rehab for alcohol abuse. So literally within the span of 48 hours, two people that are constantly compared to each other both are going into rehab for the exact same thing, which is bizarre. And then the reason that it got a red flag, which this is one thing I never, I actually just researched myself. The one thing that actually set up the red flag for Tony Khan was apparently there was a live stream that Jon Moxley was on, or Renee Paquette was on. Renee Paquette was on a live stream with their daughter, and she said, "Oh, hang on, hey John, can you watch the baby for a minute? I just need to use the restroom." So he literally is holding the child, and people screen video cap this. It's really creepy. So he's holding the kid, and he's like, it's on his knee, and he's like barely hanging on to it, and he looks like he's like fading out, like he's about to pass out, while holding his kid on his knee. And like everyone was like, whoa, like while watching it. So it's like, yeah, that's not good. And like he was out, like he was drunk as a skunk, and literally holding his daughter, barely holding her with his hand while she's on his knee, and he's like halfway passing out. And everyone on the stream was like recording it like, holy shit, holy shit. And then like apparently after that happened and people started posting the pictures, AEW flagged these accounts that were posting these pictures because they didn't want it to be released until it was too late.
Yeah, well, too late, internet.
Yeah, because the internet. So,
see, I've read the whole thing. I've always, turns out, I guess, I've always read him wrong. I mean, it's only ever been speculation. But for some reason, to me, the way he talked and acted, I always thought I was just saying how, to me, I just assumed it was more of like, if he had a problem, it might have been painkillers or something. Not that, that's unique to the Hammerhead.
Again, I mean, it could be worse. He could be Nick Gage. Yeah, I mean, he sounds like he gargles marbles for a living.
He acts like he He's got marbles somewhere. I don't know. I never met him.
But like I said, I think. No, not Christian Cage. Nick Gage. That's who I was talking about. The guy from GCW.
No, that's what I said. I never met him. Mr. Gage. I called him Mr. Gage, kind of like sardonically.
But no, it's really disturbing though, because it's like, I mean, I also found it not in a mean way, but in a almost funny way that Stone Cold Steve Austin is going in to rehab for alcohol? Because isn't that his whole thing? Like, hasn't that been his career?
Well,
Like being the drunk guy? Isn't that kind of like finding out like Jake the Snake he has a phobia of reptiles? You're like, what? Really?
yeah, that was heartbreaking. Actually, I was not ready for that news. Like, is none of this shit real? Jake the Snake doesn't like snakes? What the fuck?
Wait, Undertaker's not a real zombie guy?
Sting hates
Kelly
scorpions?
isn't a real.
Orange Cassidy is well spoken.
Nia Jax's a decent wrestler?
Now we're just lying.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. I'm totally lying. You're totally right.
Now we're going into fantasy, yeah.
Now we're going into Terry Bollea doesn't have a 10-inch penis, but Hulk Hogan does territory.
What?
He said that in court. It's on record.
See, that's why he wins. Right.
It's on the record.
It's on this motherfucker.
It's on a national record of court that he said.
He said this shit in court. And
Under oath.
only dude to ever walk into court wearing a do-rag and win.
Yeah, that's true.
Bottom line.
Well, maybe not. Well, I don't know. Maybe New Jack did. I don't know.
New Jack probably just fucking threatened the jury. God bless him.
What you gonna do when this 10-inch python runs wild on you, brother?
You're killing me.
Yeah, my fun.
You're killing me.
All right, moving on.
Okay, so I guess the last news before we get started is that Rikki Roxx had a special day today, and I'm not talking about lap dancing, it's other stuff that happened today.
Yeah, for a change, it wasn't about lap dancing. But yeah, so finally got to meet DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, at the Pandora's Box Toys and Collectibles in Lafayette, New Jersey. So one of the few guys on my list that I hadn't met, so I can cross him off. He's a good dude. Very grateful to have that opportunity. And then, of course, got to poke around the store a little bit because, me and action figures, I would have needed like $3,000 to really go through, get everything I want. They had so much cool stuff there. So if you're in the area, Pandora's Box, Toys and Collectibles, Lafayette, they got a little of everything. Comic book figures, wrestling figures, movies. They got video games. They got a little of everything. And yeah, the same place, Pandora's Box, though, just 2 weeks apart from this one. Today they had DDP. Then they're gonna have Sid. That's pretty cool. They had Jeff Jarrett a couple weeks ago too, but I missed that one. That's pretty upsetting. But yeah, great place. A lot of toys, a lot of collectibles. Definitely check them out if you're in the area. Check them out on Facebook. And yeah, if anybody who's got the day off on the 20th, go see Sid. That's where I'm gonna be, brother.
Okay, guys, so I think we covered all the news. Before this becomes like the Nia Jax hate podcast or something, let's get to the actual event with AEW Full Gear. And yeah, like we always do, we're going to talk about the matches, a bit of the lead-ins of wider fighting, the best to my knowledge. And, we'll compare our predictions with what actually happens next week, so that's always a lot of fun. And I got a personal thing I'm betting on one of the matches, but we'll see what happens there. I'll get to it when we get to it. So the first match you're going to talk about now. Now these matches are pretty last minute. We have no idea which one of these is going to be like for the kickoff show or anything. I mean, they just announced a match just yesterday on Rampage. So there might even be more matches that we can't talk about that might be announced next week. So who knows? But, we'll go what we'll go with. So, first match here, which I don't really... it's one of those matches that, I mean, if you're a fan, you're a fan, but It's Christian Cage and Jurassic Express with, of course, it's Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus with Marco Stunt because, hey, he still works here. Going up against the Super Click, Adam Cole, baby, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson once again proving that wrestling isn't gay. I'm sick of the whole Young Bucks crap and bloody fucking bloody blah. So I'm just gonna make it short and say I want Team Luchasaurus to win. That's my vote right there. I want them to win.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that. The whole Young Bucks thing is just getting way too old, way too out of hand. I'm definitely wanting Luchasaurus to win.
I think the Elite are going to win because they are just like WWE. They love cramming something till it's beyond chokeably intolerable.
Like Nia Jax's catering bill.
Oh God, we missed a contrarian.
They should just be called the Epicac because that's all they do is they just force something down your throat until you throw up. That's what the Elite are, really. Like super cool. Oh God. But I think the Elite are going to win because they're the Elite. And that's what they do. They just cheat.
Hey, their name on the door.
That's all they...
Oh. So we've all said it a million times with the Bucks especially. Doesn't need to be repeated. But I feel like, for me, I'm picking Christian Cage and Jurassic Express on this one. And particularly because Christian, he's been doing well at Impact. He's had a big run there, but he is first and foremost, ostensibly, an AEW guy. He needs a big AEW win. And I think that's what's predominantly in my head right now. So I'm going with Christian Cage and Jurassic Express on this one. Not just because I don't like the Bucks or that I'm sick of their shit, but, that doesn't hurt. And it's Falls Count Anywhere, too, so that opens it up to shenanigans, but I don't know. That's also kind of Christian's match, right? He's had a lot of experience in those crazy multi-man tag matches.
You're going to have fucking Brandon Cutler and Nakazawa doing shit, most likely.
Well, generally, I'm just really tired of the Young Bucks. At this point, I think most of us are, for the most part. So, I would, prefer Jungle Boy to win.
Wow, so as always, we got Mr. Contrarian here. Jack Knives is the only one that's rooting for... Well, not really rooting for, I wouldn't say. It's just, it's not always who we want to win. It's who we think's going to win. He's the only one going for the super click.
Well, he's always ahead of the curve compared to some of us.
Yeah. Now, that's the only match I think we could kind of sort of do without. All the other matches were all bangers, to be honest. I mean, if anything, I would say put that one on the kickoff show if they have a pre-show, because, they don't always do. Sometimes it's just recaps of the, the feuds. But, yeah, if they have a kickoff show, what do you call it, the buy-in, put this match there. All these other matches are so badass, I can't even put them in order. I'm just going to go random, but... Well, let's go with the most recent feud that literally started last night. Was CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. Basically, Eddie Kingston had a match with Daniel Bryanson or Brian Daniel, whatever the fuck his name is, the American Dragon, and he lost. So he's all in a bitchy, shitty mood, and CM Punk was being interviewed about whatever his interview segment or something, and this dude just randomly interrupted, bitching, kind of like the whole bump shoulder thing. And CM Punk like, dude, what the fuck? Hey, I'm doing this interview here. I don't give a shit, that crap. So next week they came to address it, and Eddie Kingston just got into space. They went back and forth. They're saying CM Punk is, he's nothing, he's whatever, I know you're a fake, blah, 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 and, if you want to fight, let's fight, and you know what, after I'm done kicking your ass, why would you fucking retire for another 7 years and shit, and that was like the thing that got CM Punk to attack him. They both went crazy, literally the entire locker room. I saw Rikki Roxx there in the corner. You're sneaky, dude. Everyone went there to, get these guys apart and shit, and I'm thrilled for this match. I'm thrilled for this match because, it's just going to be these two just fucking each other up. Just anger and shit, And to be honest, I kind of sort of want Eddie Kingston to win, but I know it's going to be CM Punk. He's the hot one right now. And I know the armchair wrestling fans are going to be like, oh, so they bring back CM Punk just so he can lose to a nobody like Eddie Kingston. I would love to see Eddie Kingston win, but I think it's going to be CM Punk due to, star power and all that.
Punk's gonna win for two reasons. One, Eddie Kingston is literally what would happen if Punk was a failure at life. And two, he is.
I mean, they kind of went there. They kind of went there with the back
Punk,
and forth. They did kind of go there.
If Punk sucked ass in the ring, he'd be Eddie Kingston.
UFC?
And second of all,
hashtag real life heel.
Second of all, let's be honest here. Even though Punk is retired, he was retired for a long time. He got right back into the ring, and he only missed a couple steps, really. Like, he really hasn't lost that much momentum, considering he's been out of the ring for 7 years. That's a long, long time. I even said myself before that being out of the ring for more than, like, 2 years or 3 years, that's not ring rust, that's like ring barnacles. But for him, it's more like the Titanic rising. For 7 years of not wrestling, but for him to come back and do as well as he did, that says a lot about how talented he actually is. And the fact of the matter is, even a half-ass CM Punk on his worst day could out-wrestle Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston's a fantastic talker. Fantastic talker on the mic. Not so much a wrestler, though.
Shots fired.
It's kind of very similar. Fire, yes. I had to bring the smoke for this one. Just because Punk... literally, look, this is the thing. You all know, you've listened to the Dive and Cutter podcast. I've been a very hateful AEW cynic.
You're our cornet. You're like our cornet light.
I am, but All Out actually changed my opinion. Not just because of Punk coming back, because literally I was even like, it's Punk, but seeing him wrestle again actually gave me hope. And him coming in, and Bryanson, and Cole coming into the company gave me hope and gave me actual chills. It really did. It gave me chills for the prosperity of this company. And I really do see the potential to do that because, not just because of their in-ring work, but because of their having all three been at different points in their careers on every side of the fence. If you really think about it, Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, and CM Punk have all been on all of the different sides of the fence. They've been the guys who have starved for any sort of meal to just bust their ass day in and day out for the wrestling industry and the indie circuit. They went from that to working at a somewhat decent indie promotion like Ring of Honor. Then they went to the promised land that was WWE, only to be shit on, and then thrive when no one else told them they could. All three of them have that exact same experience, and they can bring those experiences into the wrestling, into AEW. They actually can bring that thriving into AEW, to the talent, to the roster, to the stories, to the matches, to the build-up. Let's be 100% honest here. Cards on the table. Eddie Kingston is only in this company because he's friends with Moxley. That's it. It has zero to do with his talent or his years in the ring. I've seen guys that have wrestled way longer than him that are better wrestlers than him. One of them just so happens to be on this podcast. But
Mark, well, I didn't know you wrestled.
You know, I'm rusty, but you know.
But
I appreciate that sweet thing to say.
You know, I was actually, to be honest though, I was actually one of the guys wearing one of the masks for the Dark Order, and I gotta say, Evil Uno's heavy as fuck when they were doing that whole, throne thing, but,
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, he's the newest guy in the Dark Order. They got -1. Mark he'd be -5 stars.
Yep. You can see me on Dark Elevation.
He'd be the Meltzer 5.
You can see me on Dark Elevation every weekend. I'll be fighting against Peter Avalon next week.
His finish would be a -5-star driver. He just picks a guy up and just falls on his own ass and kills himself.
And none of you ever see me wrestle in the ring every time you ever watch a wrestling match, the lights go out, I actually ran in the ring, beat up someone, and left. That was me. It was always me, every time. You can't prove it wasn't me. It was me.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm -5 stars, but I mean, you've never seen Mark Rodriguez at -5 stars in the same room at the same time. You know, just saying.
I'm just saying Undertaker owes me some residual checks. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm playing. But anyway, back to my... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, real quick, I'll say this. I mean, I don't necessarily think his work, I don't think Kingston's work is that bad. I will say his look holds him back a lot. I mean, his look is not credible. As somebody who relies more and more on their look as time goes on, these things do matter.
It's not here. My thing about him, this is my issue I have with Kingston. It comes down to the fact that he doesn't have a consistency in the ring. So, like, good example. You look at pick a random wrestler in AEW. They have a specific style. Yeah, they could change the norm every now and again. So, like, good example, Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, is a technician. He's an in-ring submission specialist and technician. But he can add some hard-hitting styles, but it's still within his wheelhouse. You wouldn't see Bryan Danielson trying to go on the top rope and do a 5-star or do a shooting star press. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not his wheelhouse. Kingston doesn't really have a wheelhouse. He'll go out, he'll do a couple brawls, then he'll try to do submission, then he'll try to do stuff over the top rope, then he'll try to do a rebound, then he'll try to do weapons, then he'll come back, he'll try to do submission, then he'll try... pick a damn road, man. If you were a car, you would have been in 6 car crashes by now. But my whole thing about him is just this inconsistency, and honestly, he comes off less like a wrestler and more like a guy wearing a wrestling shirt pretending to be a wrestler. I'm not discrediting his wrestling ability. I'm discrediting his mouth writes paychecks, his ass doesn't cash very well. Is my point.
I mean, he is good at protecting his friends from sparklers.
Oh.
Not the sparklers. I love how Tony Khan, to this day, it still makes me laugh. Tony Khan's like, "What, did everyone expect the ring to explode?" I'm like, yes, that's exactly what we expected. You called it an exploding death match. It's kind of in the title. What do you expect? You expected barbecue at this barbecue? What the hell's wrong with you? All we have is salad. Wait, what? Okay, rant over. I'll hand it over to you
what friends with salad, Jack. So, so that's so was there a prediction
Oh yeah, Punk's gonna destroy it.
in there, or were we just riffing on? All right. Okay, Johnny, what do we got, Johnny?
So
we don't hear
with this
from you
match-
enough.
So with this match, pretty much like what everybody else said, like GM Punk, well, he's not technically the new kid in town, but in terms of AEW, I mean, he is pretty recent, and they're not gonna drop his promotion. I mean, they're gonna want to maximize CM Punk, his style, his
Momentum.
His momentum, exactly. They're not gonna just we're just gonna put CM Punk there and he's gonna get beat up by Eddie Kingston and whatever. Personally, I mean, I think CM Punk is I don't know. He just seemed like a better wrestler in certain aspects. So I'll give it to CM Punk.
Okay, yeah, I agree. CM Punk, they are giving him a hardcore skyrocket push. I mean, he's pretty much the legend that's coming back after 7 years. Eddie Kingston is pretty much like a dollar store Dudley boy.
No.
This isn't, it's not gonna. I don't see him losing. I don't see him losing to the Dollar General Taz. So I mean, As far as I'm concerned, yeah, it's definitely going to be CM Punk. Like, they may throw hands. That's probably going to be the good part of the match, if anything. But it's going to be CM Punk staying very technical, hitting him with the go to sleep, call it a night. I got CM Punk on it.
Yeah, to me, it's I'm going to go with Punk as well for a couple reasons. I mean, for one thing, there's certain visuals in my head that when I close my eyes, there's certain things I just can't. His look kind of holds him back from being incredible in my eyes. Like, I can't see that guy with that look getting a 1-2-3 on. Picture it? I can't picture it. It doesn't look right. So I just don't see him going over. Secondly, I think it's too soon for Punk to lose this early in his run. I mean, it takes me back to way back, 94, right after Hogan showed up in WCW. He came in July, he beat Flair. August, they did the rematch at the Clash, and they did the whole big schmaz where he got hit in the knee, went to the hospital. And some people to this day are like, well, Hogan should have put him over in that match. I understand what you're saying, but you're wrong. You can't bring a big-name guy in that quick and then beat him that fast. It just doesn't make any goddamn sense.
The only time that could work is if it's like a one-off.
For Punk to start
the only time that could work is like if it's a one-off, like a special, exhibition match. I think that's the only time that could work, where you're like having a quote-unquote like a legend or an icon show up to wrestle someone.
Is going to make somebody.
Yeah. I think other than that, like if they're like an actual part of the roster, no, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think Punk is going to make somebody. I could definitely see somebody getting a big, boost off of pinning CM Punk, but it's going to be a few months from now. I don't see it happening against Kingston. I don't see it happening this soon. So I'm going to go for CM Punk on that one.
Wait,
I love one little thing that I will say that was always
biggest.
funny to me that people used to think about Punk when he was in the WWE. You know how he has the logo on his shoulder? And for the longest time, it was so funny because they used to think, oh, it's the South Korean flag because he respects that he took Taekwondo, and then he goes on a podcast, he's like, no, it's not. It's the Pepsi logo. He's like, it's the Pepsi logo. My finisher used to be called the Pepsi Twist. And I'm like, I start laughing. Everyone's like, oh, he's so deep. He's so mean. He's like, no, I just really like Pepsi. I'm like, that's shit's so funny.
So yeah, it's pretty much like a done deal here. Everyone's going for CM Punk. So yeah, there you go. Watch fucking Eddie Kingston somehow win due to shenanigans or some shit, and we're all wrong, right? But
well, hey, stranger things have happened, but that I don't see it. But that's going to take us to the next one. I somehow missed most of the build for this with Darby Allin and MJF. I don't spin this one for me, Mark, because somehow I missed. I have been drinking more lately, but what's the build here?
Most I remember is just, I guess, after the mini feud MJF had against Brian Pillman Jr., he just started picking on Darby Allin for some reason, like no rhyme or reason. He just started, calling him out, saying, that he sucks and a whole bunch of other bullshit. And
I actually know the reason.
Oh,
why.
thank you.
The whole reason they built it up because what was it? I think it wasn't because of this shirt, but because they started saying this on wrestling forums and wrestling circuits that they were calling four of these four people they were calling them the pillars of AEW.
That's right.
They were going to be the diamond in the roughs of the wrestling of AEW, and it was Sammy Guevara, it was Sammy Guevara, MJF, Jungle Boy, and Darby Allin.
Yeah.
And MJF literally was like, well, he's like, I've beaten Sammy Guevara, and I've beaten Jungle Boy. Darby Allin, and then like he'd go away, like he would basically ignore Darby Allin, and then he basically flat out said, then he started saying like, Darby Allin isn't worth my time, I could destroy him, and that's what basically built the whole thing. He's never fought Darby Allin, they've never had a feud, and Darby Allin has never lost MJF, and MJF has never beaten Darby Allin. That's basically what the whole thing started. Then he attacked, basically Darby, MJF did his toxic heel shit where he brought up personal stuff about how the reason Darby's a straight edge is because his uncle, he was in a car accident with his uncle who died, in the car accident because he was drunk driving, which is a true story, which is a real thing that happened. And then he basically said, you can say whatever you want, you can't break me mentally. And then him and the Pineapple, or whatever the fuck they're called, they, his little faction, they attacked him with masks, and then they beat up Sting, and then he said, "Are you broken mentally now, Darby?" And then, I don't know why in my head he sounded like the guy from Gladiator, but he was like, "Are you not entertained?" But anyway, yeah, that's basically what the whole thing is. It's basically a pissing contest with MJF's ego and Darby Allin's. Darby Allin was like, I am gonna brood so hard, you guys. I'm gonna face paint so hard. Wait till I ollie, man. You guys are gonna be sorry when I ollie. You're gonna be so mad. I'm gonna do a whole vignette, and it's gonna be set to the Smiths, and you're all gonna be angry. And that's where we're at.
This is why we need you.
Oh goodness. So for me, for this one, it's so difficult, man.
I think it's going to be a good match regardless.
Well, yeah.
I actually do think it's going to be a good match.
The thing is, Wardlow's there, but we also got Sting. I'm kind of curious to see Sting, try to keep Wardlow out of it, Damn, this is a hard one, man. This is a literal coin toss because MJF has been actually winning a lot of feuds lately, you know what I mean? He's not like the typical one that loses the feuds in the end, so he could very well win this one, even though I would obviously much rather prefer Darby to win, So,
right.
Fuck, man. I'm gonna go with Darby Allin. I have a bad feeling MJF's gonna win anyways, but I'm gonna go with Darby Allin. I just can't see myself siding with fucking MJF, So I'm gonna go with Darby. We'll see what goes there. And Johnny, what are your thoughts?
This is going to be a very intense match, that's for sure. It's going to be like a long match, and of course you have Sting there and Murloc and stuff. Personally, both of the wrestlers, they're very good actually. They're both. As much as I hate MJF and his gimmick, he actually is a very good wrestler. He just has a lot of ego going on. And, there is a definite size difference between him and Darby Allin. But I don't know, man. Darby Allin, he's always able to take a good beating and then still able to remain the victor in the match. So, I don't know. I'm gonna be on Darby Allin's side, and I think he might actually have a shot with this match.
You're saying for Darby, you're pulling for Darby. That's what you said?
Yeah, he said he's going for Darby.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Darby Allin.
Got it.
Team Darby.
Alright, I'm pulling for Darby, but there's a stipulation. They gotta get Wardlow out of the way, which, Sting could probably cover him pretty well. Now, if they get Wardlow out of the way, we're fine, but otherwise, MJF's probably going to cheat to win, especially knowing his character was which is a evil love child of Ric Flair and Andy Kaufman at this point. But yeah, if Wardlow can stay out of the way, then yeah, Darby's got it.
That's actually pretty accurate. I'm not going to lie. That's actually a pretty accurate description of MJF. He is very much, yeah, that's true. He's kind of got the vibe, and he does have a lot of skill. Very similar to Flair, but he does kind of come off like Andy Kaufman did when he was just like, get under your skin. It's like, oh, you fucking asshole. But no, I that's a good comparison. But you know what's weird? I was actually thinking about this because I don't know if anyone else, I'm pretty sure most people have noticed this. And I'm sure Rikki, of all people, will definitely get this. It seems as though the creative team behind AEW is either one of two camps. Either they go, hey, let's book really good matches, big feuds, one thing to the other, the basic booking, locale, the whole playbook, play-by-play. But then it seems as though some of the other creative members want so desperately for AEW to be their insert WCW fanfic. I can't be the only one that sees this. Okay, and it feels as though they're trying to build up this kind of makeshift 2.0 Flair Sting hybrid
pretty strong.
with Darby and MJF. But what they forget is like Sting was failing against Flair for a while. That was why it was such a big upset when he won. You know, like when he finally, you know, when he was the Surfer Sting, you know, and stuff like that. And I'm like, why don't I? So for that reason, because I think it's going to make him. This is so hard. The thing is, part of me would be like, obviously MJF's going to win because, you know, they don't want him to lose. But then the other part of me is like, well, Darby just lost to Punk at All Out, and that was like that was a big, you know, a big L for him to take, but it was a necessary L for him to take. So my thought process is they're going to reward Darby by having him beat MJF. But the other part of me is like, it seems as though they're going to have a bigger feud with Darby and MJF, so that makes me think MJF would win, but this is tough. Because usually when MJF wins, he kind of just forgets everyone he feuded with. Like, remember how many months he built up fighting Moxley? And then he lost to Moxley and they just forgot all about it? So, I think... Do you know what, just to be devil's advocate, I'll just say MJF, just for devil's advocacy. I think Darby's going to win, but here's why I think Darby's going to win. If he wins, I think Wardlow's finally going to betray MJF, because it seems as though that's what they're kind of they've been building for a long time, and I think it's finally they're going to pull the trigger on that. So I think Darby's going to. I'm still going to go with MJF though, just to be the outlier here. It's hard to say, but I think it's going to be a great match regardless, though.
This is a tough one for me.
So for once, Jack Knives is going to be contrarian, just this one time, like for a rarity.
Just the once.
Yes, I know it's a rare. I know no one saw it coming, but yes.
Then he usually ends up ahead. This guy, he knows stuff we don't know. I'm telling you. Yeah, God, man. It's a pick'em. There's always at least one that I just can't get my head around. I could see this going so many different ways. I could see MJF picking up the win, and I could even see, like, somewhere months down the road, Darby turning heel and, like, getting frustrated with Sting and them doing a thing. I could see that happening. Like Jack said, you still got the Wardlow business to tie off. There's so many different ways this could go. You know, like you said, Darby just took an L not that long ago. I'm going to give this one, I'm just going to throw this one out there and say MJF, because he just has a way of squeaking out with the win in these kind of things. I don't have any other reason than that, other than he finds a way to win sometimes, and this could be one of those times. Because otherwise, it's too unpredictable.
Yeah, this is a pick 'em. We're all over the place with this one. It's going to be kind of tough to see who wins this one. If we get too many ties, this one's going to be the tiebreaker for sure.